Welcome to the Master Cars Pro channel. Today we'll talk about the problems and weaknesses of Volvo XC60. The first generation XC60 was an immensely popular large SUV that stayed in production for more than 9 years and actually sold more than in its last year on sale than it had in any year before. It echoed the upmarket feel of its larger 7-seat sibling, the XC90. Now wanting to ruin a successful formula, the second generation version retained the mini-me feel of the contemporary and also immensely popular 7-seat XC90, just as the first generation car did. It even sits on the same platform. It uses the same engines as the XC90. However, it's longer, wider, lower than the first XC60 and its well-proportioned design oozes class inside and out. There's a Scandinavian style feel to an interior that's floated with light and loaded with leather, which gives the car the premium touches it needs to survive at this high altitude. Under this elegant bonnet, there's a good choice of engines. The range starts with a 188 bhp D4 diesel and a 188 bhp 2.0 T4 petrol model. Add in 251 bhp T5 turbo 4-cylinder petrol model and 307 bhp T6 petrol before rolling in a 232 bhp D5 diesel and culminating with a 385 87 bhp and 400 bhp plus T8 plug-in petrol electric hybrids. There are front-wheel drive and four-wheel drive options. An update in 2019 introduced a range of petrol and diesel mild hybrid engines designed with a the B5P is a 248 bhp petrol, the 2.0 B4D 194 bhp diesel, and the B5D and 232 bhp diesel. There's also powerful 298 bhp B6P petrol. There are 3 trims levels: Momentum, Art Design, and Inscription. Entry-level Momentum trim gets all the essentials: climate control, keyless start, cruise control, automatic lights and wipers, and heated leather seats. Art Design is more popular mainly because you get sportier styling, bigger wheels, and tinted windows. You also get sports suspension, which does result in a slightly firmer ride than the standard car, but it brings tidier handling too. Range topping Inscription trim has an even more upmarket interior and fully electric seats. Pro pack can be added to each trim and brings different luxuries depending on the trim, including among other goodies an electric drive seat, a heated windscreen, and LED highlights, fog lights. On the road, XC60 gets along well with any of its engine options, although the gearbox can initially seem a little hesitant. The diesels offer plenty of low down ground, while the mild hybrids in either form offer plenty of punch. The hybrid versions are the real flyers, with acceleration times to rival any sports cars. The petrol options are notably smoother than the diesel, but you'll pay for that extra refinement when you go to refill the car. Where the car doesn't fare so well is in corners taken quickly, where despite light and accurate steering, and the XC60 doesn't feel as eager to run in as an Audi Q5 does. That said, grip levels are high and the handling is generally safe and predictable. As far as its ride goes, it's pretty good on the standard steel suspension, smoothing smaller urban bumps well. However, it can get caught out by larger potholes and speed bumps and does feel a little fidgety next to one or two of its closest rivals on the optional air suspension. The ride is much better cushioning the occupants on nearly every surface except harsh broken irregularities and deep potholes, and this is an expensive option on that one that, if taken up, could add to the cost of your used car. The XC60 has a lowly interior, rare plushness and style. The driving position is superb thanks to plenty of adjustment in the steering wheel and the comfortable and supportive driver's seats. Visibility is excellent, while the dashboard design and surrounding areas is smart, logical, and bereft of buttons. So since most have been replaced by the iPad style, a 9.6, 9.0 inch touchscreen that dominates the central portion of the dash. This looks great, but swiping and pressing some of the smaller icons can be frustrating. When it comes to interior quality, Volvo can now count itself among the best in the business. That the XC60 is as classy and elegant inside as the more expensive XC90 is more seriously impressive. The liberal use of woods and metal, especially on range-topping transcription trim, lends the interior a light and airy feel. There's a plenty of space both front and rear, and the boot is good size and shape. Even if in terms of outright capacity it's a little down on the volumes offered by some of its rivals. On top of that, Volvo hasn't forgotten about its roads, because the XC60 has some of the most advanced safety features in the class. It scored the maximum 5-star from Euro NCAP safety test with the brilliant 98% adult occupant safety score and 95% for safety assists. On paper, the most economical XC60 is the T8 390 hybrid. Its claimed average fuel consumption is 134.5 mpg according to the older NEDC test, and corresponding CO2 output is low, 49 grams per kilometer. If you travel longish distance, you won't get anywhere near that figure, but in theory this one lasts fast. And third, the SUV. The D4 is the most popular option, and this records a claimed figure of 54.3 mpg under the older NEDC test and 47.9 mpg under the newer and more realistic WLTP test, while the T5 with four-wheel drive records a best average claim of 39.2 mpg under the NEDC test. The 2.0 diesel mild hybrid known as the B4D claims an official 46.3 mpg under the newer WLTP test, which is identical to the figure claimed for the B5D version. This one big SUV, and despite the standard reversing cameras, is always worth checking the front and rear extremities for any scuffs or dents picked up in supermarket, the car parks, or on the school run. Also look out for curb damage on the alloy wheels. Check the seats all slide and fold as they should, and electrical operation on the tailgate. Volvo is presently in the process of recalling around 70,000 cars in the UK fitted with 2.0 liter diesel engine or potential engine fires. There isn't a fix at the moment, so owners are being told to pay attention to any unusual smells coming into the interior. If the engine warning light illuminates, or if the engine hesitates under acceleration. A problem was found with the vehicle connectivity module VCM that sends location information to the emergency services after a collision. It applies to cars constructed between 3 March 2017 and 30 October 2018. Any Volvo dealers should be able to perform a software update to fix the issue. There is an issue with certain early examples built up until 26 October 2018 where the tailgate lifting arms could freeze in cold weather. Contact your local Volvo dealer to find out if your car is one of those affected, because the arms will need to be replaced to solve this issue. In March 2020, Volvo recalled nearly 750,000 vehicles, worthwhile amid concerns that their autonomous emergency braking AEB systems are faulty. Fault affecting 7,430 cars. 56,368 of which are in the UK, was identified by Danish motoring body FDME during a road test in late 2019. The emergency brake on Volvo XC60 consistently failed, meaning that the car didn't automatically apply the brakes as expected when driven towards the special test pillow that normally would engage the system. The fact the cars are safe to use, the regular braking system in these cars is not affected by the AEB issue and it has full functionality. It's worth checking that this recall has been applied to the vehicle you're looking at. This is generation of XC60 finish in 10th place out of 22 cars in the large SUV class in our most recent reliability survey. And Volvo as a brand finished in 16th place out of 31 manufacturers in the same survey. The best seller in the 2.0 D4 diesel, and this is the one we seek out. It's punchy enough, reasonably economical, and relatively refined momentum. Trim has all that you would need, if not actually one. So we'd keep it simple and try to find one of those at a reasonable price. The Audi Q5 is one of our favorite large SUV. It's superbly refined with the classy and practical interior. It's good to drive to and rides well. The BMW X3 is also good to drive with a smart interior, rewarding handling, a superb infotainment system, and a smooth auto gearbox. Well, if you are the owner of this car, then please describe the problems that you had to face during the operation of the car. Perhaps it is your feedback that'll help viewers when choosing a car. That's it for today. Thanks everyone for attention. It isn't much work for you to subscribe to the channel. See you soon.